The Leap Foundation proudly presents the Meet the Mentor podcast with Dr. Bill Dorfman. Dr. Bill is a TV host, New York Times best-selling author, two-time Guinness World Book record holder, fitness guru, celebrity cosmetic dentist, and philanthropist who founded the Leap Foundation. Here's Dr. Bill.
Hey everybody, Dr. Bill here. So, Leap is coming a lot faster than you think. Our next Leap will be July 17th to the 23rd at UCLA. Last year we had 50 students live and about 500 virtual. This year the plan is to have all 450 that we normally get live, and then hundreds of thousands virtually, because this man who is going to be our Meet the Mentor today, Scott Donnell, is going to help us hook into some amazing communities. Scott is a tech entrepreneur, and he has built many, many companies, and we don't have enough time to go through all of them, but two of his newest ones that are super exciting are called GravyStack and HeroMakers. And so I'm going to just throw to you, Scott, and maybe you can talk a little bit about each of those. The one thing that makes this podcast so popular and different from other podcasts is after you explain what you're doing in your businesses, I want you to explain how you got to be where you got to be. Yep. Because if students watching this say, hey, I want to be a serial tech entrepreneur just like Scott, what do I need to do to prepare myself? I'd like you to kind of give them a roadmap telling them, you know, you should take these kinds of courses or do these programs or workshops or whatever it is that you think helps Scott become Scott.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dr. Bill. This is amazing. I love your audience. I love the Leap. And I just, mentorship, development of youth is like my bread and butter. Like I mentor a ton of people in college and young entrepreneurs and med grad students all the time from our biotech company. But yeah, so I am a serial entrepreneur. I love starting businesses. Tech, yeah.
Yes. All right, let's talk about GravyStack.
Yeah, so I like to do things I'm really passionate about. That's probably the number one thing. I'll only get into something if I eat, sleep, and breathe it, and I can't stop thinking about it. It's not about money; it's about impact to me. And so, GravyStack, it kind of sounds like a game. Actually, it's a bank for teenagers. We are basically creating like a debit card bank account that families use, mostly teenagers, middle school, high school, college, to be able to learn financial independence, right? And you can earn money by completing a bunch of fun games and challenges in our GravyStack app. And everything, you basically, through these games, you learn everything from saving, budgeting, and investing. We help you like learn stock investments, even like crypto. We're teaching borrowing and protecting your identity and your online presence. You know, what you say online is there forever. You guys, everyone listening probably knows that, but it's a bunch of fun games that you complete and challenges, that real world challenges that you can complete for actual pay. You can get hired for gigs in there, and every dollar you make, we actually in the app, the UI, the user interface, basically it flows through the pipes into your main bank account, and you see the flow of money in real time, which I think is how banks should be done.
Wow.
Right? So you go into a bank, you download Chase or something, and everyone listening to this, banking is boring. Banking isn't fun, and they don't really teach you anything. Like, you don't learn anything. You basically it's good for accountants only. And CPAs. So what we're trying to do is show the flow of money. So when money comes in, it hits your account, but then it splits into your jars. So we have a save, spend, share jar. And it literally, if $10 comes in, you're saying, all right, I'm putting 20% into savings, 10% into giving, 70% into my debit card. And you watch that flow.
Which banks will participate in this?
We have Synapse, which is a banking as a service tech platform that's our backer. and they're
So
doing.
if I'm a student watching and I have like $100 that I want to start doing this with, how do I get started in it?
So right now, go to GravyStack.com. GravyStack, it's literally, we didn't want it to sound like a bank at all because it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, what does GravyStack even mean?
So gravy train and stacks of money. GravyStack. All
right.
There you go. So, it's like a Fortnite game. Like, we don't want it to be like boring, like, Wells Fargo or something business oriented, because the point here is to teach financial capabilities, but nobody learns anything unless it's fun, right? Or unless it's aspirational or exciting for them. And so we just are reinventing how people think about money. And so there's challenges for learning your money motto. Like, how are you built? Are you a consumer? Are you a hoarder? Are you a spender? Do you just spend wildly for like access to things, or like because you want to have like cred, or do you buy the $400 Nike shoes because you want to have the status? Like, we're teaching you smart money decisions and how to invest in your future, how to save correctly for short-term and long-term. And then, how to give, how to share, how to, we hook up to all 8.5 million nonprofits in North America. You can just Google search them and it hooks it up. And you get our in-house coin. We're going to be launching a crypto with this so that you literally can earn coins as well as you complete these challenges, not just money, but coin. And so, yeah, it's a really fun opportunity for especially high school, like, 14 to 17, maybe 13, 12 to 13, up to 17. Like, this is big. And then going all the way through college, because we help people in college, like, your first job, your first car, your first house, your first career. So yeah, that's GravyStack.
Give me an idea of some of the things that you would learn on GravyStack.
Yeah. So for the younger folks, it's basics of like, one of my favorites for the younger folks is the dinner budget challenge. You get $10 per family member. You got to go buy the food and you got to feed the family for dinner, but you get to keep all the profit under the $10 a person. So let's say you got 5 people to feed, you get $50 for dinner, but you have to get a 4 out of 5 star rating from the family. So you can't just go give them top ramen. You got to figure out like an actual course, and drinks and a protein, and you have to give them a good meal. And so it just teaches that one challenge, and you get like 20 grit points from just doing that one thing, and you're up leveling. And we have a broke celebrity challenge to teach budgeting. So there's like a bunch of you have to research 5 people that have made over $50 million and then gone bankrupt, whether it's an athlete or an actress or actor or musician.
How long does it take to do each one of these challenges?
Some challenges are 10 minutes. Some are several days. Like, there's challenges about getting gigs in your neighborhood, mowing lawns, babysitting, washing cars, selling products. There's all these challenges in there that you complete. But once you complete it, you get our certificate of financial independence. And that's going to become very quickly the gold standard for colleges, for jobs, for resumes. You get a literal downloadable PDF that can go on as an attachment. You're like a level 10 certified GravyStack pro. So that's really what we're building for folks.
So how many students do you anticipate you can enroll in GravyStack in the next few months?
We're launching our MVP in a couple of weeks here in December. And then we are just doing a closed beta for a few months. And then by the middle of Q1 2022 next year, we'll be starting to enroll the first 20,000 kids.
All right. Then, what we're going to do? I'm going to give a free virtual scholarship to any student who enrolls in your program. They can attend LEAP virtually for free as part of their initiation into your program.
I love it.
For any students who want to come to LA and attend live, we'll figure out some kind of cool discount code that they'll get too. But I would love to have all 20,000 of your students attending LEAP.
Yeah, we'll send it out, man. We'll send it out, whether it's in person or virtual. We're expecting to serve 10 million families through this tech. So that's a 5 to 7 year plan. We've got some huge names involved. I just got off the phone with Shaq's team. He is big on financial literacy for the next generation.
He's just big, dude.
Yeah, he's just big, period.
He's big every way.
Yeah, my whole arm fits inside of his shoes, as we talked about earlier. But yeah,
it's crazy how big these guys are. I remember, probably don't remember this guy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah,
Was a big. He was almost 7 feet tall.
right.
And I was at the gym and I'm looking at him, and he walks in. And I'm like, I mean, he's big, but like not that big. And he sits down next to me, and we're on one of these leg machines where you like lift your leg up. And then I look at like the distance from my hip to my knee was half of his hip to his knee. I'm like, he is big.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys are massive. I've got some close friends that were in either NBA or NFL, and it's unbelievable just the magnitude. Some of these linemen, like
I know. And then
he's 380 pounds. All
I know,
muscle.
as big as they are, they get them bigger. What's the end goal for GravyStack? Like, if you could wave a magic wand and say, okay, we're launching now, and like in 5 years, this is where I want us to be. Where is that? So
I never really had any financial training growing up, right? Like I had my first little business when I was 8. I was selling bead geckos to door to door for like $1, and I was learning all this stuff and profit and everything. I didn't have any roadmap, and most of my friends don't that have young kids. Most of entrepreneurs, even you'd think that they'd have a plan. Nobody has a plan. They're just like, hopefully I get my kids like a checking account when they're 12 or something. That's all they basically have. And so the real vision and mission that I have with this is, 40% of student loans are set to be defaulting in the next decade. That's crazy. It's trillions of dollars of problems on our economy. And that's going to hurt all of your listeners when they're older. And I think if we can stem that tide, to change that tide around, to give young people financial capability. It's not about financial literacy. That's kind of an old term. It's really about financial independence and capabilities to understand investment, compounding interest, personal responsibility, grit, delayed gratification. Oh my goodness. If you can delay your gratification, there was a famous Stanford study, the marshmallow study.
Yeah.
You remember this, where they gave 5-year-olds a marshmallow, and they said, if you don't touch this for the next 30 minutes, I'll give you another marshmallow. And kids are just sitting there in this room waiting and watching it. And some ate it, some didn't, got another marshmallow. Well, the kids that didn't eat the marshmallow and got another one, they've tracked them, and the statistics were off the charts. Like it was double the higher grades, better SAT scores, better graduate. They tracked them for 15 years. And so
delayed gratification. I get it.
I mean, drug addiction, like pregnancy as a teenager, like depression, like everything changed when you learn about delayed gratification. So that's what we want to do with this.
What about going internationally? Like, have you thought about doing this in foreign languages?
Yes. Yeah. We have some massive groups in Asia and Central America that want to get this. We're starting in North America. And as soon as our tech, because some of the banking is difficult to be able to launch worldwide, you have to get a lot of reporting done. But yeah, as we go, we're going to be taking this worldwide.
All right. That's awesome. Let's move on to HeroMakers, because that one speaks to me, baby.
HeroMaker Studios. That's right. So
why don't you give us a description of what it is? Because this isn't out anywhere yet. Nobody knows about this.
So I was a public company CEO. I'm only 35, but I feel like I'm
me too.
70. Yeah, you too. I started this biotech company called Hapbee, Hapbee. If people want to nerd out, it's a biotech company that basically gives you the digital effect of like certain compounds like melatonin or caffeine or theobromine to help you sleep or have focus when you're studying. And I was the public company CEO of this until about March. And when the day I stepped down as a CEO, because I like to build them, get them going, and get out the back door, like be an advisor and own the company. Right. And let better people run them, right? My life is all about who, not how. The day I stepped down from that company, I got a call from the founder of Comic-Con, Gareb Shamus. He was Stan Lee's like closest confidant and friend. He was he also the founder of Wizards, the magazine, if there's any comic book superhero fans listening. He is the GOAT in this world, and he'll never say that himself, but everyone knows it. And he called me and he said, hey, let's partner up and let's create our own universe of comics, like the next DC, the next Marvel, and we'll have it be community run, community led, and we'll partner with 100 famous actors, musicians, athletes, and we will launch these amazing, fun comics for the next generation and the next universe of people. The Eternals movie didn't get very good reviews. Superman's going downhill with some of the new crazy stuff going on. Like, it's all centralized. And so he said, let's partner up. Let's launch mobile first comics to the world that turn into movies and franchises. And, let's have this be owned and run and decided on by the community, the customer. So people now, like, as we build these comics, they can vote on what happens to things. They can vote on characters and plot lines and collaborations and crossovers. And so it's called HeroMakerStudios.com. The website's going live any next week. And we'll be starting to launch these early 2022. And it's going to be mobile first comics. We're even going to have an app where you can download all the readers. You can engage. You can create your own comics eventually as well. And so that's just a really fun opportunity. That I love storytelling. And I think we have an opportunity here to tell some of the coolest stories. Like, here's a great example. Jim Quick, who is the brain coach to the stars. He's a dear friend of mine. He was just on the cover of Entrepreneur Magazine. He's like Will Smith's brain coach and Oprah's brain coach. And he knows more about the brain than almost anyone on the planet. We have a comic that we're going to launch with him. I won't say the name, but it's about like an ethical hacker who uses his brain to basically solve worldwide problems behind a screen as like a ghost. And it's this crazy like theme and plot line and worldwide problems he's solving. And he gets these superpowers, like low grade RF technology superpowers. Super fun. But I love the idea of telling stories that are very relational to everyday people. You get these weird stories of like Thor and other worlds that aren't really relatable to people, but I love like the Spider-Man stories, like, the neighborhood kid who gets bit by a spider and all of a sudden his life changes. Those are just way more relatable and fun. And so that's what we're building. 100 of these comics over the next 3 to 4 years. We're launching them each with famous folks. I won't say all the names, but you and I are mutual friends probably with half of them. And here's a good example. So my sister has spina bifida. Okay. She has a disability. It's not a disability. It's a superpower. If you really think about it, right? Like, people on the spectrum lack ego. People that have Down syndrome are the nicest, most loving, kind people on the face of the planet, right? Like, they just did a study at MIT, and they took a few kids with severe autism, high schoolers, right? And they gave them intense algorithmic tech coding problems to solve, and they put them up against the MIT grad software engineers. And the kids with the autism beat them. They got it done in 5 hours, and it took the other kids 40. I believe. But here's the problem. How many villains in all of the traditional comics and superhero movies out there have disabilities? They're in wheelchairs, or they have a handicap, or they have they're on the spectrum, or they don't care about people. I think it should be the other way around. I think that people that have disabilities should be the superheroes. And so part of our stories are going to be making them the heroes of these comics. And whether there's, sidekicks or they're the main character, like, that's one of the things that we're able to do in creating our own universe. So that's what I'm passionate about. That's why we're doing it.
I love it. So these are amazing companies, and we're super excited to see where they grow. My next question is more about you. If I'm a student, I'm watching this, and I really am interested in becoming, a serial tech entrepreneur. How do I prepare myself? Like, what kind of classes should I take? Are there seminars I should go to? Are there books I should read?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think anybody who is entrepreneurial should do whatever you can to learn. I'm huge on mentorship and apprenticeship. I think anybody in high school or college or in their early 20s and they're just starting out a career, you need to write down what you love, what you're good at, and what are the biggest needs to solve in the world. Okay. I call it the sweet spot. What you're good at, what you love, and what are the biggest needs in the world. And your sweet spot or calling or whatever you want to call it is where those three things combine. And so take some time, write down what comes to mind on what you love, what you're good at. By the way, what you love and what you're good at are not always the same thing. I love things I suck at, and I'm really good at things I hate. So you have to find things that are flow time that you love to do, that you're really, really good at. Whether it's art or writing or sculpturing or solving problems or entrepreneur, whatever it is. And then I would try to ask everyone, who are the best three people that match something in that sweet spot, right? Whether it's a doctor, whether it's an engineer, whether it's an entrepreneur, whether it's a tech entrepreneur like myself, and just go shadow those people, go meet with them, say, hey, can I take you to lunch? That's it. And see if you can follow them for a day or a week. My first job out of grad school was a barter company of all things. I wanted to learn what barter was like, and I wanted to understand this world in Seattle, where I'm from. I live in Phoenix now, so I walked into the largest barter company in America. They had no job postings or anything. And I walked in and I said, I've studied your business with the CEO. I studied your business for the last 3 months. I think you have 3 holes in the business that I'd like to fill. And I'd like to have a commission-only job to solve them. And if I can do that, solve one of those in the next 6 months, would you start paying me? And he literally hired me on the spot, and he paid me a salary on the spot because of my gumption and my forward thinking. He said, do you have any idea how many people I want to think that way?
Yeah, Scott, that's brilliant. I remember my daughter, Charlie, was applying for a job at an ice cream parlor. And she said, Dad, let's do a practice interview. I'm like, okay. So I said, okay, Charlie, what's the first question you always ask is, why do you want to work here? And her answer was, I really think I'll learn a lot of great business skills. I'll learn how to do customer service. I'll learn. I said, they don't care about you. What they want is, what can you offer them? I said, the way you're going to answer that is, I love ice cream. I've always loved ice cream. And all my friends love ice cream. So if I'm working here, I'm going to have all my friends coming buying ice cream from you. That's the person I want to hire. Because, you did exactly the right thing. You walked in and said, this is what I can do to make your business better. How can you say no to that? Yep. And I think a lot of students are so egocentric and so myopic that, they're focusing on like, how am I going to gain it? And nobody cares about you. What they care about is what you can do for them. Yeah. Honestly.
That's exactly right. And in 4 months of that job, they handed me the top 10 clients on a platter. I brought in Kimpton Hotels, one of the largest hotel chains in the world. I mean, I was 23 years old. And amazing. That was an incredible learning experience, but it all comes down to add value, right? If you're entrepreneurial, add value, find a need that adds value in a profitable way. If you're trying to get hired somewhere, whether it's a doctor, a dentist, and whatever it is, a teacher, walk in and write down exactly how you're going to add value to them on day one and go with it. And as long as you execute, you will never have to worry about a job. The only people who have to worry about jobs are the people that are not adding any value. It's as simple as that.
I agree 100%. 100%. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to hook you up with James. We're going to make a promo code for all of your students. So in your introductory package, when they sign up for GravyStack, they'll be able to apply with a promo code for LEAP 2022. Sorry.
2022.
And then, later on, we'll give them a great offer if they'd like to come to LEAP Live.
Sounds good. Yeah. And I'll try to make some time. I know I was out of the country last year, but I'd love to get some time to get to Hollywood to hang out.
So if students want to contact you directly, is that a possibility?
I don't do email.
Okay.
I have 6 emails across all the companies with 5 companies, but my EAs will. So I have executive assistants that do all my emails for me, but you can email me. The easiest one's probably going to be scott@hapbee.com. That's the biotech company.
And it's spelled HAPBEE.
That's right. Hapbee.com. That's the biotech company. Shayna is her name. She'll read all those. If you just say you heard about me from the Leap podcast, I'd be happy to connect with you guys there.
Awesome. Scott, thank you so much for your time. I'm super excited to work with you with Leap 2022, and I hope you can actually come and be a speaker at it as well.
Would love to. Yeah. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. That was great.
All right, Dr. Bill, over and out.
To learn more about the Leap Foundation, go to leapfoundation.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Leap Foundation or on Instagram at Leap Foundation. Listen to the Meet the Mentor podcast with Dr. Bill Dorfman on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.